What's going on, everybody? It's another edition of Old Talk here on the United Hour. Oh man, I just play another music. Some of my brethren, Jimmy, to the background this single week up. Very addicting. Go check it out. And we apologize for the late start. We have to apologize for that. Apparently, we had a bit of an issue. Some of our members aren't paying here at the job. I'm not gonna call any names, Robert. Yeah, so that's a whole other story in itself. But of course, your boy Greg be hosting, and I am not doing this by myself. With me, currently, gentlemen, how has the been treating you?
It's been quiet, man.
Good. Eating.
Yeah, it's a long weekend. We chilling.
Yeah. Eating some Tottenham Hotspur.
Wow. Boy, gonna be one of them
Nice.
shows. CJ. It's gonna be one of those shows.
Hey, that's all talk for you, though. That's all talk for you. If I let's just start from the get go, that trigger happy inside here. I realize that.
Not me and all today.
Good afternoon to
Not me
Mr.
and
Martin
Ole
Phillip,
today.
always and ever present whenever the show is going on today. And I think Mr. Phillip would be very pleased with today's result between Manchester City and Liverpool. 2-2 draw in what proved to be a very exciting match going down to the end. You had everything. You had your drama. You had your controversy. You had players being shoving referees and referees shoving players back. So, yeah, like I said, a little bit of everything. So it puts the league race, the title race finally poised at this point, with City having a game in hand over Arsenal, who are still on top by 6 points. So, Martin, ask you how them Spurs tasted, boy.
Nice. Like something they don't get. 3 points.
Wee boy.
Oh wow!
But hey, but the men had them get 3
Wow.
points yesterday. We win.
Wow.
Actually, number don't say that. The ref
Wow.
gave them 3 points yesterday. Ref and VR gave them 3 points yesterday. They didn't
Well, I
let them-
think it would have been a bit more accurate if he trophy, because I don't even think they remember what that looks like for some time. But yeah, that's a whole nother
Wow.
myself.
Uh,
I no, but
Mm.
it was one of the most.
Hey, the truth hurts. The truth hurts.
But on a serious note, fellas, that Brighton Spurs game yesterday was one of the worst displays of refereeing and VAR I've ever seen.
oh, of course, dude. That was terrible. Like
But-
I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it.
Let's be very honest. Let's be very honest. Stevie Wonder could have seen that Matuma was denied a penalty in that game. That's to tell you how bad it was.
And I think it had another
So-
controversy yesterday too with another handball. What game that was, boy? Some other game. I'm trying to remember. Where in the build-up play, they had a handball.
Either way, it has been crap all around from referees for this season, going all over the place. And for that, I only have to do just one thing, gentlemen. If you will, endure me for a minute. Yeah, that's what I think of the referees' display.
Plus you're a free boy.
So that.
Greg,
Well,
which
I
one
mean,
was
hey,
it?
they do anything to deserve not getting flushed. Come on, come on. They've been showing their ineptitude in so many different ways. It has been shocking. It's just been nothing short of shocking. So they had that coming. They had that coming. Yeah? But anyway, on to our discussion today. Manchester United, of course, yesterday getting all 3 points in a 2-0 win against Everton. So many chances, so little clinicalness from our front line, but we eventually got the 2 goals, one from Scott McTominay and one from Anthony Martial. But the game is as we know. Game, it's the thing to have. It's not an easy situation to have to understand, but that is the reality, guys. We haven't updates regarding Rashford's condition and how serious the injury might be. CJ, let me start with you. What are your thoughts going into this? Thinking what could be a difficult period because we do have Sevilla, which is our next game on Thursday. How do you think Ten Hag is going to cope without Marcus Rashford?
Um, it's gonna be tough because on one hand we did get back like Ericsson and Casemiro, which helped with some stability in midfield. But to not have a focal guy like Rashford is going to be tough, given that we do need the goals. We need, and he does supply us most of our goals since the start of the World Cup. So it's really tough though, and you now have to tell yourself, um, what do you do? Do you go defensive or do you still play your normal football? Because in a sense, we do need somebody to step up. So it really puts him in a limbo. But most likely, I feel what would happen is that he's going to have to do a makeshift in the sense that you're going to have to dictate the midfield. So attacking wise, it really is just up to step up, but that's going to be tough in my opinion.
Yeah. Courtney, let me ask you. If you were in Ten Hag shoes right now, and you know that you have this dilemma now with no Rashford, and you don't know what's how long you're going to have Anthony Martial fit for. What would you do? Do you stick or twist? Do you decide to give Martial the run of games? Do you play like a false
Yeah.
nine, or do you do probably
Well,
what is the more unpopular thing and return Wout Vegas to the starting lineup?
look, I love Wegos, you know. He's the type of player any coach would like to have. He plays 150% and he gives you everything. But
Hmm.
he's not an active goal threat. That's not to take away from the other work that he does, because he does great work off the ball. He hustle, fight, yeah. But I need him at this stage. It's not enough that he is that work rate that he has is not enough.
Mm.
If Marcus was not injured, I could give him a pass. But now that he's going to be one of the main men where the goals have to come from, I at this point you had to go with Martial. And hey, and when that inevitably fails, you go to plan B or plan C. Look,
Okay.
it's what it is.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong though. You're not
He's a
wrong.
more natural
just
goal
it.
scorer than Wengos. We will use him for
That's
the
true.
amount of time we can until he either he not scoring or he gets injured. When we reach that bridge, we go cross it, not before.
Okay. So, given that this is the reality of the situation, because I know we have to really preview into this game because it's gonna be like a mixed bag for Rashford's injury. How much does it necessarily change things in the way that you think we can approach the Sevilla?
You can't change how we're going to approach a game. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, you had to win. The only way you can go forward is to win.
What I will say though, in the sense that our defensive work isn't compromised if you think about it, because hear him out, right? I just think about this, right? But hear him out. Yes, Marcus Rashford is missing, but you do have a backline because Varane is fit. Varane is fit. Lissandro is fit. And sure, it's not a serious knock, and he just rested him because he didn't want him to get injured.
Yeah, he should be back probably he should be in contention for the Sevilla game Thursday.
Yeah. And then you have Wan Bissaka, who is more than fit. So you can see our backline is good. But I would think what would happen is that we would end up relying on the defense and the midfield, and up front is just to create chances. It's just we just won't concede. Will we score a lot of goals? No. But I feel like this might be the era where it's like, hey, we wouldn't know, but we ain't scoring that much goals, but we winning. We ain't conceding. And I feel like that's gonna
That
be the
is
plan.
true.
That's gonna be the plan, because if you look at the game yesterday, right? It's not that we don't have people who don't get in positions. It's just my God, the finishing has to fix. Because a good example, you know what about man yesterday? Harry Maguire dropped one of the best passes I see this man ever drop in a United jersey. I was like, but wait now. There's an assist there. I tell myself, God very well knows that if that dropped and if that score, couldn't talk to man for this season. So to me, I think what is going to happen around this time is that we will not score much goals, but I know for damn sure we cannot concede and we won't concede because we now have a base back. It's just our attacking shoots boots. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on there because I like Anthony, yeah, boy, but dog.
Swing your right foot now, boy.
Dog, by God, for the love of God, please. Please.
Swing your right foot.
Just do it now, boy. Just swing your right foot.
Like this,
Greg, I'm making
this is exactly why I've given.
Wait, boy, Greg, boy, you're real breaking up though.
Yeah,
listening. Good.
You breaking up more than you couple out, you know.
Serious?
Yeah, son, it's sounding like you're on dial-up, all kind of thing.
Wow.
Wow. Man, see it itself.
I know when you in them days when you was on Napster and
holistic
and them thing
holistic.
The song downloaded and it reached 99%, and somebody pick up the phone or the connection drop, and the timer just reset.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what Greg getting on it right now.
Wow.
No, but I was gonna tell you,
I literally have the LAN cable in my laptop right now, you know. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Nah, but probably if your Wi-Fi still on, it'll pick up the Wi-Fi over the LAN cable, depending on how you have it configured. But I was gonna say to y'all, I bet you the time that he swing that right foot, somebody score.
I feel like if you do that, you get tapped in the back room, dog. Cause Dan, you're owing real thing, dog. I watched that game yesterday. I told myself, Anthony, please, just swing me right foot that. Dog, I'm begging. I see Jadon Sancho running for his life. I said, Dan, Jadon right there. If you can't score, just pass it to Jadon. I'll ego putt. Nah. So no, I tell myself, you're going on. Somebody get police on the phone.
Let this go. Stick.
Greg, you there with us?
Hey, Greg. Good on there, Greg.
Hey. Yes, I'm here. I don't. It's wild. It is just wild right now.
Yeah. Tell them move you off of the dial-up internet now. Tell them get a proper ISP. I feel their phone might work faster, you know, Greg.
I feel so.
I feel their phone might work faster. LT don't get all them problems.
I don't know what to say at this point. Let me see if I can switch. If anything, I'll just try and see if I can fix that and try and switch onto my phone. Hopefully that'll give me a bit more trouble. Let me know if I'm not lagging anymore. Cause I don't know what's going on.
You're not lagging anymore.
Is okay. Well, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So you think we can move forward from here? You think we can move forward from here or nah?
Yeah.
All right. But okay. So like I said, so I want us to put a scenario out here. Like, okay, knowing that we're probably not going to have Rashford for the Sevilla game, how do you think we're probably gonna line up for this next?
I'm guessing the question is how they're going to line up for the Sevilla game.
Who comes
in?
Yeah.
You want to take it? You want to take it for CJ?
I generally do feel he's not starting Martial.
say if he do, you
Yeah,
play.
he put in you put Sancho and Anthony and you put Wegos.
All right, but who playing in the hole? Casemiro and Bruno.
Yeah. He could do
All
that
right.
because if you think about it, he's not gonna put Martial as starting, given that Martial now come back, and I don't think he trusts Martial to play a whole game, given that injury prone. So yeah, he's gonna play Wegos, and Wegos might play as a kind of a not poacher, might be as a
post up.
away, yeah. Because if you look at it,
Okay.
the technical ability Jadon Sancho showed.
Yeah, but he's not missing a player though.
Who?
If he playing 4 in the back, 2 in the middle, so Bruno playing us alongside Casemiro.
Yeah.
Who's the next person in?
You
in
still
the
have
middle of the park?
Ericsson probably to bring in.
Yeah, probably bring
He's
it.
not gonna
Yeah,
start
Ericsson
Ericsson. He's not gonna start Ericsson.
You don't feel so?
Ericsson now come back.
So
Oh yeah. What? Oh, you know what you might do? You might do I think you might put this fella in the 10 role. You might put
Sabitzer?
Huh?
Sabitzer?
Yeah.
Sabitzer.
If not
Yeah,
Sabs, if not Sabs, he might put Sancho in creative, like in deep how he was before. And he just might put 2 men up, but I'm not sure. It could go either way, I'm not sure. Because he can't play Ericsson one time. And we kind of need people there to really run the game. So I definitely feel he has to do either the two. Because
he can play what he's done in previous games and play Casemiro and Fred and put Bruno back in the 10.
And to be honest, that would actually be better though, because for me, I find Fred and Casemiro is a good duo, especially for that game. Especially given the fact that we do need all the workers we need because it's Sevilla. Yes, Sevilla not doing the best job right now, but I am not out to count Sevilla out in no shape or form. None. I have to beat Sevilla. If I in that game get out 2-0 in the first half, as a man saying, don't kill that in the second half even more because I'm not doing it.
Sevilla is no shilling team, like be real.
Nope.
Well, I mean, it remains to be seen what takes place as regards with that side because, like I said, Sevilla, they have not been doing that great in La Liga, but Sevilla in La Liga and Sevilla in Europa League is 2 different types of animals. So we had to be very, very honest about that. So,
but then hopefully them fellas didn't forget the loss that we had a couple years ago to them.
Well, I think the mentality under Ten Hag has changed somewhat. So it may not necessarily be this level of trepidation. And given the way that we've approached most Spanish teams that we faced this season, you can see there's a lot more confidence in the way that they want to play. There's a lot more belief in the ability of the players that are in that team right now. So I kind of like our chances, but at the same time, we have to recognize that there's going to be that level of caution needed. And then missing one of probably our most potent threats, it kind of may have to force Ten Hag to adapt the approach that he may take to this team. But I still believe that our chances are much better than Sevilla's going through in this game. At least that's how I see it.
Also, too, in context, when you watch the game, when we play against Sevilla, that was a side that was real tired, and everybody was on the last legs. It was real good. Because if you're watching the game, men was real tired. But it's not that we're not lacking fitness. It's just, I think it's coming at a good time, too. Because if you watch the game, we kind of get a little kick, and we realize from the last game that, hey, we had to really push. And they push.
Yep.
I think with this game with Sevilla is really going to prove something. And every time we have to prove that we always come forward. So I feel we can hold on. We just don't have to. We just have to be real careful about how we go about it. It's the approach at the end of it too. Because you can't go too defensive because if it makes sense going too defensive against these Spanish teams, I don't tell people that. But you can't push yourself. But I think after the Barcelona game, everybody kind of knows how to handle the approaches. So it's a different team and a different manager, different tactics because if we be real, Ole didn't really have much tactics except score first and win in that game. Let me be real. I like Ole, but what tactic was man doing? And look at the bench too. I know our bench is thin, but you see that bench back then? What the hell? Well, it was going. Who was going to change that game? Let me be real. Who was going to change that game?
I mean, if we look at the team we had then, I mean, our backups were the likes of Jesse Lingard, Andreas Pereira, Angel Gomez.
Yeah, dog.
Good players, but not seasoned players when it comes to big matches and going deep into tournaments. So it was one of those. Yeah, it was. I mean, it looked like there was potential to go far, but when it came to those moments where we needed clutch players, you could just tell that team was not it. So I'm not even mad about the situation. Like I said, I liked Oli, but we all knew that it was just probably a step too far for him.
Yeah, sad to see.
But it is what it is. It really is what it is at this point. But I'm guessing that everybody else is pretty much optimistic about this. To anybody who's viewing in the comments, thank you to everyone who's tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Just remember to like, share, subscribe, keep viewing, and we'll be having more content for you as stories go on. Anything else that that comes to mind before I move on to our next topic? Anything else you guys want to bring up? Anything else that piques your interest in the footballing world?
Nah.
No.
All right. Okay. Well, cool. Sound like I have to shift for topics, but anyway. So moving on. One thing that has been coming to light as of recent is that we have been seeing somewhat of a newly forced rivalry within the Premier League. And it's a rivalry that hasn't been really a rivalry for the last 4 decades. I mean, let's face it. Everybody knows pretty much almost every rival team in England, almost every team in Europe pretty much hates Manchester United. And I'm pretty much here for the vitriol. I don't really give a damn. I could care less. I'm glad people hate me. It means I'm doing something right to piss you off. But all in all, most recently, I mean, we've had our fair share of banter from the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, Barcelona. Yeah, I've even found Ajax fans coming for me on Twitter at one point. And all this because all this because they were vexed. We were looking about getting Anthony. One of them told me how keep crying because we're never going to get Anthony. When we signed Anthony, and I was like, you were saying, Soldier blocked me.
Yeah, that's not unexpected. That is the way of the troll these days,
Correct. When they can't win a conversation, they'd rather avoid it altogether. Correct. So yeah. And recently, the fan base from one Newcastle United has been finding themselves trying to attack Manchester United fans on Twitter. So, which is why I come up.
There's not a new thing though. Granted, it wasn't a rivalry that was up in the forefront for a while. In the early, when I first started to watch football in the early to mid 1990s, we had a pretty decent rivalry with them though. There wasn't a Arsenal but they were top 4 contenders.
Yeah, they were. I remember at one point
for a good
96
from let me say 1995, 96 till about
99.
Not so early. Maybe 2000, 2001.
Was it better than me? Yes.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching games with the likes of Faustino Asprilla and Les Ferdinand and all these other guys who were part of that legendary team. I remember they even played us a game at St. James Park where they beat us 5-0.
Yeah, I think that was any treble season. Or is
no. That was the season before. That was actually when we won our second double, and Cantona came back from his 8-month ban.
Oh right.
So yeah, that was a very interesting time at that point.
Kevin Keegan took us down to the wire.
Yeah, that's the same season. That's the very same season. The famous rant where he was like, "They've got to go to Millsborough and get something," and I would love it if we beat that whole mad rant that he had. Yeah, but it was one of those years.
So yeah, we've is a rivalry that has always existed, at least in the Premier League era. It's just that because they've had issues where I think they've been relegated a time, and they've
Twice.
been a mid-table team, and they had some financial issues outside of that,
Mike Ashley.
Yes. Yep.
right? So that's the reason why it's not on the level that our rivalry with Liverpool or even City is on. But there's nothing new. I'm not surprised.
To be fair, I found Newcastle when Michael Owen was playing there, so I didn't really see it.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, like dog.
That wasn't the greatest of times. That wasn't the greatest of times because
right.
the year we won the Champions League in 08, that was the year they got relegated.
Yeah, they got relegated in 08. Yeah, they did relegate.
Yeah, that's right. You hearing about Newcastle when Michael Owen was playing there. After Michael Owen played for Liverpool, went to Real Madrid, came back, went to Manchester United, and then ended up in Newcastle.
No, actually, no, it's the reverse. He went to Newcastle when he came back to England, then he came to us.
Yeah, to United.
Yeah, because I remember because the year they got relegated, we bought him after Ronaldo left.
And also too, if you think about it, he was real fishing for a job because what they found out from him was he put out a whole resume and PowerPoint on why he should get a transfer. Like, man was really down bad. Like, he put his skill, his abilities. Like, we didn't know this man was like we didn't know he was Michael Owen. Like, we didn't know he was Michael Owen, but he had to do it because in our way, nobody wanted to take the risk on him because he was injury prone. Like, no, his tendons were gone. At that point, his speed was gone. The technical ability was gone.
People forget that around that time, that was like about 2 years after the World Cup in Germany, he had fractured a bone in his leg, and he had to get screws to put it down to get back to healing place. So this was around that time when he was basically trying to recuperate and recover and get himself back into firing form somewhat. Nobody was interested in taking him.
Yeah, he could.
So Alex Ferguson only entertained the idea because he took a pay-as-you-play contract.
Yeah, he couldn't take a full contract. Like, dog couldn't.
The man was down bad.
Let's be real. Being the master that Sir Alex is, he just wanted to take a shot at Liverpool.
Well, yes,
I would agree.
yes,
yeah. Well, one of your legends into my club, give him a Premier League medal. I don't know if was he on the Champions League squad, boy? I can't remember. I don't think so.
Nah, he didn't make the Champions League team.
No,
he didn't make the Champions League.
I know for sure he got a Premier League medal.
He got a Prem medal. He got a Prem medal.
He lifted him,
which he didn't get when he was playing with Liverpool.
Nope.
Yep. And even when he had the interview afterwards, when they asked about how is it feeling to be actually being a champion now, he was like, "If you can't beat them, join them." That's what he said.
You know, to the point that Liverpool fans do not consider him a legend. Like they
just own that man so quickly.
Yeah, there's an argument. Like
they just own that man so quickly.
Like, man,
that's how mad it was.
Man, have a Champions League.
No, he doesn't. He has a Europa League. He has a Europa League. Gerrard has a Champions League. Yeah. He knows that he doesn't have a Champions League. He has a Ballon d'Or, but he doesn't have a Champions League.
Boy.
Yeah, of course, the man was lethal, dog.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, late 99, 2000s. That man, he was a different player. He was a different player back in that period of time.
It's just
but I can tell you that much. My thing is that I hated Liverpool so much around that time. So to see Michael Owen winning one before Liverpool did, I could only just go like this.
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
Greg, you're too wicked, eh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're wicked.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's true though. No,
nah,
but
hey,
no,
but
we had to talk about Chelsea, boy.
I never said Newcastle wasn't terrible, but like it's your people.
Yeah, but you see, here's the thing with Newcastle. It's like you're finding your way back into somewhat of the upper echelons of the league right now. Wait your turn before you start throwing shade at people. You're coming here, and what makes it worse is that tweet I found on Twitter where this somebody named Toon Pose. I call them Looney Tunes because that's how I find this on right now. They're moving like a bunch of cartoon characters right now. But yeah, he told them how he was saying how he can't stand Ten Hag. He doesn't. He hopes he fails miserably. This, that, and the other. And in my mind, you're turning around and then trying to twist it to make it seem like you're triggering United fans when you basically just told people how much you hate our fan base. The only person that seems to be triggered around here is you, and I'm sure that stems from losing to us in the Carabao Cup.
It is because you gotta remember. I mean, I understand why they would be very pissed because coming down to the days of the Carabao Cup, you could have tell that if the teams kept their original 11, it was going to be a very, very close game.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know what's the one thing that hurt them? You see that Nick Pope red card? I feel that destabilized everything because I was thinking to myself, this is going to be a real close final, a real nervous, but then I see the goal start. I was like, yo, didn't even try. It didn't even try though. What the hell? And that probably the pain because maybe they're trying to start back something because they realize well, we're in a final against United and we're fighting for top 4. So maybe this is a rivalry. But again,
but hold on. It's your first season fighting for a top 4.
Exactly.
If you tell me you got 2 seasons or 3 seasons that in the top 4 fight, and you want to throw some shade, all right, cool. You know,
cool. Yeah. Like,
but it's like and this is why I say it's a forced thing because you're not necessarily there competing for championships. You're not really pushing anybody else in the league to the point where you're forcing yourself into a title race. You're there. You're doing better than most people anticipated that you would. And given the funding that you've got, yeah, okay, you're doing well for yourself. Congratulations. But you have not won any silverware in half a century.
So long, boy?
It's nearly 67 years since Newcastle won a trophy in their history.
Damn.
So I don't know. This whole notion that anytime I see a Newcastle fan talking about how they're better than most of the teams in the league, just I mean like
yeah.
that's just how I look at it because it's like you're really trying too hard right now. You're really trying too hard right now to make it seem like you're this big fish. When last have you produced a world-class superstar from your academy? When last have you done anything on the European stage? You guys can't even probably remember what European football looks like. It's been that long. West Ham, hell, even Wigan have seen Europe before you. And Wigan got relegated. Wigan win the FA Cup, get relegated, and still play the Europa League before Newcastle see it. It's that peak with these guys. But yeah. So I mean, what do you guys take on it? And I want to hear from everybody in the comments as well too. What is your take on Newcastle United suddenly trying to force a rivalry with Manchester United to talk like they're a bigger team? To me, it's overboard. And if they do collapse and find themselves out of the Champions League spots, I wonder how they're going to feel after all of this.
I know what to tell you. At the end of the day, they go do what they have to do, you know.
Yeah.
And again, remember, one of the days we now living in the social media world. So people going to sit down behind the thing and be keyboard warriors and
Usual.
Yeah.
Usual.
But fellas, we had to talk about Chelsea. No, we go forget Chelsea, boy.
Funny you should say that, because Martin Phillip now saying the same thing. He said, be prepared for Chelsea fans to behave the same way towards you next season. I'm like, okay. Chelsea fans have always had this high and mighty mindset that they're better than everybody when they have less. I mean, okay, you've done well. You've won a few Champions Leagues. You won a couple of Premier Leagues, and okay, great. But look at where you are right now. You're 11th. Try and relax. You're not even sure to get Conference League next season.
I know.
That's the LGDs.
I feel like they shoot themselves in the foot by hiring Frank, but it's better than leave the man who was there all the time.
Yeah, but it's almost like they're just going around in circles, and this is my issue with Chelsea's strategy when it comes to business moves. You brought in Lampard, you fired Lampard for Tuchel. Tuchel won you a Champions League. The minute things seem to be going a little bit in a downward spiral for Tuchel,
No,
you
but
fire
I
him,
don't.
man.
I
You
don't
bring
think
in Potter.
I don't think that's why they fired Tuchel. I think they fired Tuchel because somebody
He
named
didn't want Ronaldo.
and Tuchel said
Boli,
he don't want that.
Boli wanted Ronaldo. Boli wanted Ronaldo.
So yeah,
And he tell himself he want to know what he going against his wishes. He buying what he want. I can tell you right now, half of those players that were brought in under Boli so far while Potter's in charge, those weren't Potter signings. Those were Boli signings. It's basically Ed Woodward and the Glazers 2.0 at Chelsea right now.
I really feel
That's
so.
true.
Think about it.
Not the same as World War 2.0, but it's basically like, okay, the best example is like Nottingham Forest or the start of the Manchester City dynasty. Remember when City was when City was just buying anybody?
Bro,
a big name.
City burned through a laundry list of players in their first few years under that Chinchilla because it was like, you look at some of the players they brought in: Roque Santa Cruz, Bernardo Corradi, Robinho, Stilian Petrov, Martin Petrov, Georgia Samaras, Benjani, Joe. Yep. I'm surprised I even remember half of these names.
Man, like Joe, boy, you know, allow me hear about Joe.
I'm like,
Joe
it was like it didn't even make sense. He actually had a World Cup. He actually had a decent World Cup. Which one?
Yeah, Joe had a good World Cup. That's how Joe beat.
He didn't have a
yeah. No, sir. No, sir. Joe did not have a good World Cup.
Joe had to have a. So how we get signed for City then?
Because City was desperate.
And on top of it, Joe was fooling people. He was a world class player at one point in time.
That was it. The man had a pretty decent World Cup, and that's how we get signed.
Nah, the City buy was way before.
Joe Fedesi went into a contract. That went on there because after that he ended up going on loan to Everton, all kind of thing. Joe Fedesi went into a contract. No, I'm sorry. During that period, one of Manchester City's best strikers was Daniel Sturridge, and he was an academy product.
Wait, I forget Sturridge was a City player, no?
Yes, he was. In the early start of his career, Daniel Sturridge came out of Manchester City's academy.
But yeah.
And he, like many other players who came out of City's academy, apart from probably Phil Foden, had to leave to get more games. Because you look at that. How many Manchester City players you know have been successful coming out of their academy and have played and have been a first team player coming out of their academy? You can only count on a handful. And it's not even a full hand. Foden
is the person I can think
Micah Richards.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, Daniel Sturridge. Those are the only three players I can think of that were Manchester City players that were successful playing for Manchester City.
It didn't have our next week, man. It had our next week, man.
Sean Wright Phillips left, went to Chelsea and won 2 Premier Leagues. So that's to tell you. That's to tell you. They don't have a great history of their academy products becoming great players within their own team. Foden's probably the only one who's the exception to the rule at this point.
Yeah, because Sancho had to leave.
Yep.
Somebody they had another youth player that was hyping up, and he had to leave too.
Brahim Diaz was another one that left.
Yeah.
He's in AC Milan right now, but he went to Real Madrid for a bit as well too. So it just goes to show, City has been so much of a manufactured success in the way that they have to spend money to be able to get it, and then there are people who are City fans, quote unquote City fans, who insist that they're the bigger club in Manchester.
Well, true, right. But City don't have a manufacturing plant like how Chelsea have a manufacturing plant. Let's be real.
Bro,
if you look at it,
if there's one thing I have to give Chelsea credit for, they do produce good players. They just don't know what to do with them. That's the problem.
Well, I think if not last season, the season before that, there was an article that came out that said Chelsea had 100 players, 100 youth team players, who were not selected for the first team, but they aged out of the of whatever the Prem 2 league was.
Yeah.
And
I think it's up to a certain age you can already be in Premier League 2 for.
right. And so they had to either send them on loan or sell them. And I think the majority of them couldn't get sold. So they were out on loans. You have to
remember, this is also what got them in trouble with the financial fair play, because you had about at least 40-something players registered on loan. That was not sustainable. And then on top of that, you want to bring in more players on the transfer market? No. That's why they ended up getting our transfer ban. And that was the only reason why the likes of Mason Mount and Reece James and all these other players were able to get opportunities, because they couldn't bring in other high-class players to come in.
You see?
To a point, it did them more harm than good, because it allowed them to be able to produce those players.
The problem is, right?
Frank going to get fired before the end of the season?
No, I don't.
Nah, I don't. I really don't.
No, but
also, you could just see it out. You could just see it out more than anything else.
Why I'm saying is this, right? I think with Chelsea and City and their camps, you have to understand that it's not something in football. Very few teams, like established teams, go to their training camps, go to their youth before teams who get some new established kind of talent. So, for example, Chelsea, I think Chelsea's in a weird place in that Chelsea could go to their youth camps, and they do. But the problem is they just don't know what to do with them, or because they have all this money, they would just rather spend money on already developed players, which I understand, but it's not the most suitable thing, because let me look at the example of Barcelona. Barcelona is going through a slump right now where they're still buying players, but yet they're still taking players from La Masia and doing well. That's serious. How it's sustainable. Ajax is a feeder club, yeah, but I think what will happen in the coming of years is going to bite the ass of certain teams who do not invest in youth. For example, PSG already feeling that, because PSG doing the exact opposite in that they wanted to dismantle their youth training facility at one point in time, which
is stupid.
Which is like, dog, when people call PSG Hollywood FC, PSG fans I hear get mad at it, but dog, look at the reality of your club.
It's the truth. It's the truth, because look at the players that they invest in.
Yeah, exactly. And they had Timothy Weah at one point in the PSG camp.
Yes, they did, and they let him go.
And dog,
Timothy Weah, who run out for the US right now? That's him, Timothy Weah.
Yep. As in George Weah's son.
He's a PSG graduate. Who else? This fella too.
Christopher Nkunku.
Nkunku. He's a whole PSG graduate. And guess what? They don't use any of them. They send them out. They sell them so they can make some money and make their.
Kingsley Coman is a classic example of that. Kingsley Coman is a classic example. Another PSG product. Went to Juventus. Went to Bayern Munich. Hell, he even scored the winner in the Champions League final against PSG. You see how much that coming back to haunt them, man?
Greg, watch Robert Comendy.
What is this? Wow.
Robert.
Wow.
Robert.
Wow. That deserves this again. That deserves this again.
Ask my accountant about that.
Deserve that again. I am so sorry. That deserves that again. My God, Robert. You're disgusting. You're disgusting, bro. I thought I was a savage. Oh my God.
And his man just come in quiet and just drop the air, mash up the whole conversation on him.
That's what he said, boy. That's what he said. Wow. I mean, I could care less if there are any Chelsea fans listening. I mean, I for the smoke every day of the week, but still. Still, there are ways to go about these things. But yeah, let's be very honest. I mean, given everything that's going on, Newcastle United have to be very careful with the way that they go forward as regards their approach to transactions they make, the money that they spend managing their club. I mean, they're a team they're a club that's going to fill their stadium. I don't think they have any issues with that. But
the Geordies will come. What are you saying?
yeah, the issue that they have to watch going forward is the serious situation with the money washing and the issues with the likes of how City and PSG are in trouble for their lack of balancing their books with the way that they've talked about their revenue. Because you look at the way that they put in so much figures and the ticket sales for stadium prices and everything else has not really balanced out the way things have gone for them. So they have to tread a fine line with that any way that they approach this from here on in, because you don't want to do all that and you end up in an investigation for something that's unnecessary. Because I think a lot of United fans, well, the few that I know, have that trepidation when it comes to Qatar coming in now.
Well, you see, but the difference with us and them is that we already have a relatively successful business model.
Right.
I think outside of the debt that the Glazers would have incurred over the time, outside of that, we were running relatively stable. I think even with the note to the shareholders on Edward Wood's last AGM, they were still projecting a pretty decent payout to the shareholders, even though we had lost some value in the market. And
that's very true.
Because we've been that successful, it's going to be a lot harder. Even though we may get new owners, it's going to be a lot harder for us to end up in those financial fair play situations, unless they come in and they start again wild. But I don't believe that anybody who's going to be buying Manchester United is going to come with that kind of mentality.
Well, they can't afford to anyway, because I mean, you have to be mindful of everything that comes into place. Yes, with most new owners, there's a bit of a grace period, but from there you balance out everything, and then you have to, moving forward, you have to be very cautious with the way that you spend your money. Not saying that you can't spend a certain amount, but it has to basically the expenditure cannot outweigh the revenue.
And well, it can't consistently outweigh the revenue.
Correct. So looking at that, it's just one of those things where Newcastle themselves, with those new owners, I mean, yes, some of the buys they have made in likes of Sven Botman and Alexander Isak, very good buys, very, very good buys, and I have to give them credit for that. But if they decide to want to go wild and say they want to buy the likes of a Kylian Mbappe, or even try to bring Lionel Messi to the Premier League, I mean, that's going to raise a few red flags. If we're being totally honest.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of what goes on here. And I think with that, depending on how the team performs, they want to also make sure that they're meeting those expectations too. And that also means that Manchester United themselves, have to be mindful of that, because we're going to have challenges from different fronts. We already have to compete with City, compete with Arsenal, compete with Chelsea for purchases of players that would want to come, because I mean, they're looking for high-profile places. They're also looking for Champions League football. So the performance on the pitch is a huge aid in that regard. So yes, I know there are a lot of clubs. I mean, even we ourselves. I mean, we bought Casemiro and Rafael Varane and others, and we got Casemiro without Champions League football. We got Zlatan without Champions League football.
There's an influence.
Yeah, so it just goes to show you that Manchester United's brand in itself is a lot bigger than most people actually realize.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of dumb. The thing is, right, I feel like a lot of times, especially when how people feel with this whole sheet coming in, I genuinely feel it's not going to be like this whole FIFA 21 kind of dotishness where men feel it's transfers or one transfer. That whole, and I when people say don't feelings, they're like, dog, why would you think, right? This whole thing going to be like on FIFA transfer. The only funny thing is, FIFA don't even allow you to do that, because there's getting your ratings on your transfer deals. And the amount of times men just get F Because like dog, you can't just buy any player though. Like bro,
Correct.
there needs to be some kind of stability. And I tell
Yep.
myself as a fan, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to play out in the way of one, this idea of people thinking, well, we're gonna get rid of so many players, bro. We're not going to change our core players. Like how you think we're gonna change our core players?
No, it doesn't work that way.
I be hearing men saying Fred and Scott had to go in one drift and they me. Funny you think. Yeah. If I see them stay and Eric convinced Scott, hey dog, you're gonna be lonely pecking on it, but here now, you see them cup games and games or way to come and kill this off. I will literally pay away to foot in when I bring in these fellas.
You think
Because
that's bad? You think that's bad? Let's just hear that one Mr. Jacob Harry Maguire still at this club next season. The uproar.
Like
The uproar.
Like dog, that's the thing I'm trying to say. It's like, bro, what most likely is going to happen is God, thank God, the debt gonna be paid, the stadium gonna be fixed, and a lot of other things that help the club fundamentally is going to be fixed.
Correct, because I mean that's one of the basic things that needs to be addressed as well first. Because I mean, we all understand that the stadium in itself is a bit outdated. The training facilities have to be upgraded as well too. So there's certain core things that need to be dealt with before you just consider a whole clear out of players.
Men feel there's like, okay, I have money, and also too, it kind of show how people just think if they became billionaires, because people feel they become like a billionaire, you have all this money to spend, but it's like, nah, bro, it don't really be like that. Like King, you had to reinvest in something, you have to fix this first, you have to fix that first, and that's why I don't really get like heated over things, because I tell myself, it probably have more things behind the scenes sometimes that I don't know, and I will never know. So let me see how the process goes, and that is all it is. Everybody has shown, I think, with United, Jonathan, that now how John this makes sense. I am not a minister's son. Those are birthday gifts.
Yo,
bro, CJ, I have no court clues.
Right? I take that back. I am not a rich child, a heiress or heir. I am not an heir to a Fortune 500 company. I only have like 3 pairs and no, 2. 3 is what I get for my birthday because I am saving. I work in OJT. I am a contracted worker. Don't do me that.
Wow.
Bills have to pay. Bills have to pay. Gym membership have to pay. Nah. Tell me before they have money. Like you're winning lotto, Jonathan, boy.
Oh my goodness, this is insane. Okay, so moving on to Martin Phillip, he's saying here what United have on most clubs is legendary status, plus name recognition, which is true, because you look at most people when they think about the Premier League, one of the first names, if not the first name that you think about is Manchester United. No matter how much Man City or Chelsea or other teams win trophies, Manchester United is still one of the most talked about teams in world football. Not just England.
Because why? Because we spent a great deal of the 90s pushing our brand into markets that people wasn't really going into. You feel one of the reasons why we are so big in the sub-Asian continent, India, Pakistan, Japan, China, is because we went and we did the groundwork.
Correct.
But that's it, you know. Because if you think about it, right, people have to understand, right? With a business, you have to do some things that you wouldn't think make sense. Because if you look at the fan base of certain teams, you realize they have a fan base in certain countries. So, like, look at South Asia, exactly. Dog, the United fan base in South Asia is crazy. Like, I think our Indian fan base is like levels. And then when you look in Africa,
I think when I last checked, it was at least about 3 million people who are Manchester United fans in India.
Exactly. And then when you look at Arsenal in Africa, people like to laugh at it, but Arsenal has a big following in Africa, especially Nigeria. Because
remember, a lot of the players that played for Arsenal have African roots. I mean, you had Kalu, who was from Nigeria. Yeah. Patrick Vieira, who has Senegalese upbringing. Lauren, who was from Cameroon. So there's a lot of Kolo Toure, that is another player who was, I think, Ivory
Exactly.
Coast. So there's a lot of African connections because of the players that played for them. So there's a
Exactly.
lot of respect there.
So when you see you have a fan base in certain countries, you would invest in certain parts of in the world to get that fan base.
But even before we had Asian players in our squad, even before Park became Park,
Yeah.
they were putting in the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
I cannot knock. I don't get Jackie Jacket. Ed Woodward took a global brand and made it universal.
You can't vex with that. I can't vex with that, really.
Right.
I really can't vex with that.
Right.
I really can't vex with
Right.
that. No, because
And one player that also kind of has a part to play in that as well too is one Mr. David Beckham.
yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
You think about the popularity that David Beckham had in Asia. It was insane. David Beckham was literally a pop star in Asia.
Never sang a song in his life, but you just
Married to a Spice Girl, but never sang a pop song in his life.
You feel if he did sing, he did sell more than her?
CJ. You want to go down?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You want to go down in our zone? You understand?
Hey.
Leave Bex alone now. Leave Bex alone.
Outside of Spice Girl, what bumps Victoria have? Yeah.
You're going too far.
Victoria Beckham.
You're going too far.
I want to say it. I feel it to say it. Victoria Beckham career before Spice Girls, prime KMC, outside of Spice Girls, current KMC.
Sir!
You're too wicked. You're wicked.
Wicked, them wicked. I don't know how them so wicked. Why them so wicked? But I know so they're wicked, them wicked.
I take it back.
Sir!
Not even KFC.
Sir!
Squeezy ranking, yeah. She's squeezy rank.
My God! Yes, Shavana, we agree. We agree, Shavana. He has no behavior.
CJ.
What's the squeezy rock? Get it up. Wow. Wow. Mercedes is Mr. Stickman? Who is that one?
I will never forget if my brother sent me a mixtape. He about to be the next Jay-Z. I went to tell Killer, no, you're going to be the next Squeezy ranking. Unrelease this stuff.
Yeah, man. That is next one who Lucy selling the mixtape by Price Plaza side there. Yo.
I can clean my glasses with two of them. Ain't no kind of trouble today.
Hey,
And Mr. Martin Phillip is right.
Let me, it's a joke, y'all. I mean it. That man had real hits, bro. Good.
Hey, I'd say free speech is not free. I mean, to be fair, at the end of the day, freedom of speech and freedom of expression is almost the same thing, eh? One is just in words, there's others who just put it in action, but some people just abuse the privilege. That's all I had to say.
Just know, I am joking. It is not serious with me.
I feel united or an old talk, especially for old talk. We need a disclaimer.
Yeah,
I've always been the one to say it. I'm a professional voice. The views expressed by CJ Peters are not the views of those on the United Hour and those on Old Talk. Thank you.
Me?
So is you talking about this one and that one who are career like this? Oi, own what you say. Own what you say, sir. Please.
I mean,
full self.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not denying it, but wait, boy. You man say CJ, boy.
But it's who say it?
Wait, boy. We can just say the
views. It's who say it?
You can't even say the views of United Hour as a whole, eh? Man, say,
man, I just let you know. I'm sorry, it's my brethren, but I'm not taking no bullet for it. Big man thing. Big man thing.
You buy your
Big man
whole
thing.
set.
Yeah. I can only advise here. I can't stop you from walking down the road. That is all I could tell you. That is all I could tell you. Oh my goodness, we have been here for an hour and we have been laughing our heads off. Guys, Sundays are always like this, and I mean, I'm sorry we can have much of a bigger panel. I mean, you know, it is sometimes life tends to get in the way, but this we are having fun. We are having fun
It's
because
Easter Sunday. It's Easter Sunday, Greg. Come on.
correct is right.
Home.
That's actually a good point. I mean, my nieces I never had me preoccupied whole day yesterday. So much love to Kalia and Clarissa. I don't know if they're watching, but yeah, they're a handful, but I love them to death. So it's just like that's how it is. Any parting words to you guys? I mean, given our schedule coming up, we have a big game Thursday as mentioned, and then we have other games coming. We also have the FA Cup match against Brighton, I believe, this coming weekend. So yeah, that's another important match. CJ, what are your thoughts about this coming week?
They could have give us Grimsby, dog. What the hell? Can't give me Grimsby, dog. I don't play Brighton. I'm not afraid of Brighton, but that's gonna be a real aggressive game, dog, and we need everybody.
Bro, you wanna win big trophies, you had to play big matches sometimes. That's just how it is.
Correct.
But honestly,
nobody expected us to go to with Barcelona, and we end up knocking them out of Europa League.
That could be our final. That could be our final.
Let's face it. People fail to realize that Europa League match had more views than any other Champions League game during that week. That's to tell you how much numbers United and Barcelona draw.
That's 100% true.
You see, I have an issue with that drop-off thing in with UEFA and Champions League and Europa League. I understand that they need the views there, but how can you build the league if every season the third place team drops down? It don't make sense.
Yes, only Jose Mourinho there for a second.
No, it don't make sense. You can't build the Europa League and build its stature if it is that you're not.
Yeah, you have a point because it feels like relegation when you do that.
To be fair,
yeah. Like if it's third place and you're out, or like it's only sixth place gets Europa League, it keeps Europa League there.
Interesting, yeah.
But if the third place punishment for third place is Europa League, that doesn't really make anybody feel.
No, I'm not talking about that. No, I'm talking about when in the group stage. Remember at the end of the group stage, I think the third place team. I think 4 third place teams or 5 third place teams drop down into Europa. And they don't make sense. I understand why they're doing it from a business standpoint because you're probably not getting the views on the Europa and whatever. But it to me, it watered down the quality of the people who fought to be in the competition.
Yeah. Because when you think about it, it's a tad unfair to everybody who's already there. And
because I mean it comes like an additional game, especially if you don't win your group.
Yep. That is itself. It's an additional game.
What to instead of going straight to the wrong at 16, you have a wrong at 32? Just for what?
Yeah. That's for the team that finished second, and basically you had to go through a draw from the teams that finished third in Champions League.
Makes no sense. I understand they're doing it for the money, yeah? But at the same time too, it's not fair to the teams that are already fighting and struggling. No, granted, this season it worked out because they get a big game with Manchester United versus Barcelona, but on average, how many big games is there?
That rarely happens. It rarely happens, actually.
And to be fair, I still think that draw was rigged for us to get Barcelona because they thought, okay, this will be an easy passage for Barcelona because of our previous history against them, but there wasn't counted on what took place.
And also, too, they wanted to sell the viewership of that did blow up, eh?
Yeah.
The viewership was crazy.
But if you wanted the viewership to blow up, then they should make it a final or a semi-final.
Well, that instant,
UEFA didn't really see the whole thing through it. I guess, Barca didn't have enough money to pay them properly for them to get offer. But that's another topic for another day. That is another topic for another day.
But when I make my jokes, we all want to have lawyer clothes.
You understand? I'm going to tell you, Greg, as I told CJ, I have no court clothes. So, wherever you're saying, say it with your whole chest, but just know you buy your whole self.
Don't worry, I will. When I have to give my testimony, I will make sure and say Mr. Andrews had no part to play in that statement. Say you're safe. Yeah. I'll leave it. I'll leave it to run scot free.
I saw a man who's afraid to run. I just foot. I don't care. I bet you know if a man tell me he wanna fight me, I tell he meet me in C3, and guess what? I will never show up. I don't care. I gonna do what Dr. Doom used to do, man. Oh, you think you fight Dr. Doom? No, that's a robot. I ain't here. I gonna see you for. That's why Dr. Doom is one of the greatest villains ever. When the Fantastic Four feel to go and sweat Dr. Doom, nah, me ain't coming there. You gotta see me.
Yeah, that basically it's like, yeah, you really think I get and waste my energy? Nope.
Come down, dog.
Nope. Better than that.
Man, we sing gas money. Nah, they're too big for that, man. I don't do that.
Well, big man does do this thing for so many little things. But hey, we can only forgive, yes. But anyhow, again, closing thoughts as we're looking to wrap up here. Like I said, our time is running low. It's last call at the bar right now. I done finished my vodka already, so I ain't want to be out there still drunk. Courtney, any words for the upcoming weekly expectations? What you hope to see?
I'm just hoping to see good football. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens now that Marcus is on the injury list. I'm very interested to know what's going on at the second end of the EPL table, because that's looking like a proper fight.
Yeah, but Courtney, as we on that subject, remember we was talking the other day about how if Chelsea have a huge capitulation at games, they could get dragged in that fight. They've already lost one. They've already lost one.
They what, 39? They only had to win about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And
that may not change the price of rice, my brother. They might still end up finding themselves in that back of that.
No, they ain't gonna be
you
in
stay there.
There's 9 points. There's 9 points out of 8.
In the words of John Cena, are you sure about that?
Yeah, man, them safe, man. I can't see them crumbling so much that they lost 6-7 games on the bunks and end up in a relegation battle.
But brother, man, they already have more losses than they have points. Get this points. In fact, they have more losses than they have goals, I think. There you go. I don't.
Right? So yeah.
Emotional, damn it! You want some therapy?
Anyway.
They're on 39 points. It have no way with 8 games to play.
Courtney.
They lost 8 games
on
the trot.
Courtney. What did we just say earlier?
All right.
I don't know now. I don't know.
Chelsea already have history that is not something that they like. Or they are the only team that have won the Champions League to get knocked out of the group stage. Eh? So don't be surprised if they make more history in the worst way possible. So, hey, just I don't say expect it. I don't say that it guaranteed, but just keep it in the back of your mind that they could find themselves in that situation.
I hear you, sir. I can't fight it. I hear you.
Exactly.
I don't think so, but
exactly.
I hear you.
I mean, I still give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they may necessarily get dragged into it, but it will make for interesting viewing if they find themselves in there. That's all I'm saying. Let me just check this last comment here from Robert. He's saying that think with Marcus out, others will now have to step up. But glad Ericsson and Martial are back. Yes, we all are, especially Ericsson, because we missed his quality in the midfield. I mean, sometimes Bruno was trying to do too much, and it was affecting his game in some regards. But Martial, we're just fingers crossed somebody gonna wrap that man in some bubble wrap, because we need he getting injured somewhere during this season. That's something I really can't afford to be there.
I don't understand why.
To be fair, his wife no, was chasing his ex-wife in France.
It is alleged. It is alleged.
Allegedly. And you know what is allegedly? I is related to Martial. That boy is put. That
Anyway.
man is fuel of a drama.
Gentlemen,
I just
and on
seen.
that note, please let us end.
Yes. On that note, indeed.
You will get we
On that note, indeed, we need to call it a day, ladies and gentlemen. That is the alcohol talking right now. I mind you, CJ don't drink, but anyway, that I call our contact drunk. You know our contact side, our contact drunk. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, viewers from wherever you are on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for participating in any way possible. We appreciate your contributions, and we will see you again on Thursday on the United Hour. So on behalf of Courtney and CJ, this is your boy Greg B, reminding you that we will be back. Manchester United, Red Devils, we don't die. As President Chad says, we multiply. So take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Support the United Hour. Click that like button and subscribe.